everybody, welcome back to another Tuesday grilling video, and today we're going to do a whole smoked chicken, but we're going to show you how to do it so you don't get that rubbery skin. We're going to cook this at 2 different temperatures. It's a real easy way to do it, but it gets great smoky flavor and a nice crisp skin on the outside. In order to get started, let me do this. I'm going to uncover the grill and I'm going to get it fired up at 250 degrees. You can use like an apple wood or maybe a competition blend. I'd probably stay away from a hickory or a mesquite unless you really like that rich, hard smoke flavor. Let's get started. So as I mentioned a minute ago, I'm going to fire this up at 250 degrees to start. Now, I don't know how everybody starts their pellet smoker, but on my PitBoss, I always just turn it on the smoke setting. I wait for the white smoke to clear, and then I set the temperature I want. All right, now that we got the grill on, I've turned the heat to 250, and while it's warming up, we're going to prep our chicken. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this, but really it's pretty simple. We just have a chicken. I have some whole onions. I'm going to cut these in quarters. I'm going to stuff them in the cavity just for some extra flavor. Use your favorite rub. I mean, you can just do salt, pepper, garlic mix is great. I'm trying this thing for Christmas. My wife got me a barbecue seasoning of the month sort of thing. This one's called Lotta Bull Barbecue, old family recipe, competition rib and chicken seasoning. I have no idea how it's going to be. So as you can see, this is a big bird. It's 7.5 pounds. I'm going to take out my little thermometer thing that comes from the store. Just put that aside. Go ahead and just cut up my onions. And as I mentioned, I want to leave these fairly large, make it nice and easy to get them back out because kids and Deb don't care for them. By the way, if you're doing this, be sure you take the giblets out. There's usually a little package of them with the neck and the giblets in there. I tend to be a little bit conservative with this. I know a lot of people will load it up on there, but then again, a lot of people you see are actually selling rub on their YouTube channel, so they have a vested interest to have you use as much as possible. I want to still be able to taste the smoked chicken. I don't want all the flavor just coming from something I sprinkled on it. And by the way, I patted this whole thing dry before we started. But be sure you spread the wings apart and you get seasoning all in there. You want all this thing to really get nice and covered. Do the same thing on the other side.
Hey, right over here. Hey, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, give the video a like and a thumbs up. Thanks a bunch, man, appreciate it.
Now when you go to tie up a bird, you can do it a couple different ways. I don't bother tying the wings, I just tuck these. So you've probably seen this before. You just take the wing and you fold it back here and pull it tight. And the reason why we're tying it is because the drumsticks are going to cook faster than the rest of it, given that they're smaller. I'm just going to put my string right underneath here, about the halfway point. I'm sure there's a better way to do this that I don't know, so you get my way. I start with just putting a loop in the end, and that's going to go around one of the legs. And then I'm going to use the other one to pull it tight. So I've got my loop, and that's just enough to go around the leg. Because these are crisscrossed, now I get to just sort of pull this tight. And I think most of you know we're boaters. So, nice little clove hitch on here. And we're all set. Listen, there's butcher knots and everything else. Don't feel obligated. And you just get this thing tied is all you need to worry about. Because at the end of the day, when this is done, you're just going to cut it off anyway. So who cares? We've got a nice, neat, bundled chicken. Turn it around. You can see what we've got on the back. Tied right there. I think that's going to be good. We've got the PitBoss at 250 degrees. I've got the bird ready to go. I'm just going to use some of these onions that didn't fit inside the cavity. I'm just going to roast them in the pan. I am using a pan just to keep it from sticking to the grates. You don't have to. I'm just going to try it this way. I may, in the second half of this, pull it off of here so the bottom gets crispy as well, but we'll see. With this closed, we're now going to leave it at 250 degrees for 1 hour, and this is our smoke phase. This is when we get all that smoke imparted in there, but we don't overcook it and we don't get the skin rubbery. After 1 hour, we're going to come back out, we're going to check it, we're going to crank it back up to 350 degrees, and then we're gonna cook it until the internal temperature is at about 165. Gonna be delicious. All right, so after an hour, we crank this thing up to 350, and we're gonna put it in for another hour, and at that point we're gonna start checking the temperature. We want it to go ahead and be at 165 internal temperature. Just gonna use a spoon and baste this a little bit. Seems counterintuitive, but the oils in this should help crisp up the skin as this temperature is up higher. All right, this looks pretty good. We're gonna close it down and we'll let this go for about another 20 minutes. We'll start checking that temperature. Okay, it's been about an hour on this guy. We're gonna now check it. And you can see just how that skin's starting to crisp up a little bit. All right, this is done. We're gonna go ahead and get some pot holders. We're gonna take this thing off the heat. It's all ready to go. We'll let it rest for a little while. Now, because of all that hot grease in here, we need to be really careful. Now that this whole smoked chicken has cooled down just a bit, I just went ahead and cut off some of the thigh, and I don't know how well you can see that, but the color is just phenomenal in this. You can see the red rings from the smoke in there. Man, that is good. It's tender, it's juicy, just a little bit of smoke flavor, and it's not overpowering from a rub, which is perfect. We don't want a whole lot of that. You want to taste the chicken and all of its goodness. That's good. Now, I shouldn't do a whole lot of this, but here's the skin on the outside, and it's crispy as well. So flavorful with the rub and just a little bit of crunch on it. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you again next Tuesday. I hope you give this a shot. Whole smoked chicken on the PitBoss pellet grill with a nice crispy skin by doing 2 different temperatures, an hour at 250 degrees, and then you crank it up to 350 and you cook it for 60 to 90 minutes or so until the internal temperature is 165 to 170. Really good stuff. We'll see y'all next Tuesday for another grilling video. Grill safe.